Popsicle Miss is up.
Test 1, 2.
Perfect.
Did Karen tell you that we were going to give away another Storm Hunter package?
Yeah, got it right here. We're going to draw it for it.
Hey, folks, we have a lot to do this evening, and just to let you know, we're going to get 5-minute warning. Anybody outside, you want to come in, we're going to do the drawing for the Baron. We're also going to do some other drawings. We're going to announce the photo contest winners, and a bunch of things are just about ready to happen. Also, one last time, Safelight folks back here in the corner. If you wanna buy a raffle ticket for these great packages that they have back here, now's the time to do it because they're going to announce their winners here this evening as well. So 5 minutes, we will get ready to rock and roll. You're gonna need your blue tickets and your red tickets because we're gonna do a bunch of different drawings.
Ready for whatever comes next. You need a partner.
Test 1, 2.
All right, folks, if you would take your blue tickets, we're going to give away a couple of prizes from that first. AllisonHouse has actually given us a second subscription to give away for their data services. Man, let's see. I have this gentleman right here. If you'd pull a ticket for me, and if it's your own, that's cool too. What do we got here? Number 982. Does anybody have number 982? What's that? 982 going once. 982 going twice. All right, 982 is gone. I think we should have Mr. John Davies pull a number for us here. What you got, John?
Let's see. We have here, am I supposed to read all 6 numbers? Just the last 3. 005.
005. Do we have a winner? 005. All right. Okay, so that is your subscription to Allison House, and if you go back and see them, they'll get you taken care of. Great. You know, we're going to do a couple other drawings before we get into the big ones here. And you know what? We have a bunch of goodies on the table, not the photos here. If those are already taken. We'll get to find out who the winners are here in just a few minutes. But if I draw your ticket, feel free to come up here on the back part of this table and take any one prize that you want. Okay? We'll start right here. What number we got?
We have 841.
841. Does anybody have 841? Oh, man. 841. Going once. Going twice. All right, Max, you got to draw us a winner here. What do you got?
909.
909. Oh, somebody got a 909? 909? Hey, all right. Come on up, John. Oh, just need your ticket. All right, anything on the back half of that back table? All right, one more time. All right, Molly. What you got?
988.
988. 988. Anybody have 988? We got a winner. All right. Oh, we're on a roll. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. We'll be on the back half of the back table. All right. Now we're going to switch modes. Grab your red tickets. We're going to turn it over to Cliff Wyndham to talk about the mobile ThreatNet system and the Barron Services products. Cliff, it's all yours.
Thank you, Roger. So glad to be here again for, I don't know how many years I've been here, but I'm glad we're here again, and appreciate everybody turning out. We're going to do 2 giveaways tonight. The first one is going to be a free 6-month subscription to our new web-based service that I'm demonstrating over there. And we will do that, I guess. We got a little video here. I suppose we can go ahead and show that real quick, and a little company video, and then we'll get into the drawing for that.
Weather affects everyone, every home, every climate, every day. It's critical in every country, every industry. How you prepare and respond can be the difference in lives saved or lost, property protected or destroyed, and being ready for whatever comes next. You need a partner who can equip you with intelligent solutions to prepare for and protect against significant weather threats. Barron is the standard for critical weather intelligence. Through decades of work across the globe, Barron has led the way in every market, inventing and innovating weather solutions. Since inventing street-level storm tracking, we haven't stopped breaking new ground in weather data, radar hardware, real-time display capabilities, and hyper-local dissemination tools. Partners benefit from our effective, reliable solutions, tailored to their precise needs. This cohesive network of tools offers the flexibility to incorporate legacy assets. To identify hydrological threats, dual pole data provides the most powerful and accurate hydrometeor information available. Barron leads the way in dual pole data products with solutions that can pinpoint events like hail, flooding, and more. Our world-class radar systems have been proven in countries across the globe, including the successful upgrade of the United States National Weather Service radar system to dual pole. A complete suite of display solutions and class-leading data products work together to effectively display and interpret live radar. Additionally, Barron forecast models provide the most precise model guidance and weather prediction. Digital solutions provide hyper-local dissemination of information. Send alerts to an exact area to notify people who are in the path of a threat. Barron defines the standard in significant weather solutions, turning meteorological data into actionable intelligence to save lives, to protect property, and to prepare for what's next. Barron is your partner for critical weather intelligence.
All right, thank you for watching that, and we're going to have this first one. I'll ask you too, if you win this, if you don't mind, I've got a little card up here. If you can just come fill out your name, address, and phone number and stuff, so we'll know who won.
You know what? I think there are some vendors that do have tickets for these, so you may want to announce them. I think some folks grab them.
Okay, we're trying to limit these prizes to non-vendors, okay? So if you congratulations. Thank you. All right. Let's double check that. Yep, you got it. All right. Well, thank you for winning. Oh, does he work with you guys? Silver Lining Tours?
He was been a tour guest with me before.
Oh, okay, good. He's got your jacket on. That's wonderful. All right. Good. Okay. And this is the big one, the $1,000 prize here. This is the Barron ThreatNet bundle. And I think, Roger, you use it in your operation. And
I started using it back when you were doing beta testing.
there you go.
All the way through, you use it every year on tour.
So one of the original users of it. We certainly do appreciate that because a lot of people have seen it in your operation and called us about it. All right, so here we go. And for those of you who don't win, you can still get the $100 discount if you want to buy one while you're here, okay? All right, here we go. There's some consolation here. All right, the number is 5, 6, 2. I got to tell you a story about this guy and his dad. They've been coming to this thing for years. And when he was just a little guy, he would come over and look at this mobile ThreatNet running at our booth and always say, I wish I had one of those, you know. And now he's a little bit older, getting ready to go to college, and he just won it. So, Stephen, that's wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations. All right.
All right, congrats, Stephen. You're just a little excited there, aren't you? Yeah. All right, let's see what's next on the list here. Well, you know what? It is time to announce our photography contest winners. First, I got to grab the goodies because there is a bit of a monetary award for our photography contest winners. Hey, look at there. All right, we got some pictures up there. First of all, we'd like to thank Gary Schmidt, who wasn't able to be with us tonight, for sponsoring the photography contest. He sponsored it last year and sponsored again this year. Gary, thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it. Secondly, would you like to know who our distinguished judge was? Where is David Mayhew? We appreciate that, David, for all the work that you did and looking at all these photos. You had a lot of items to look at. All right. We have a first place, second place, third place, and an honorable mention. And we're just going to go right to the top and just start with first place and work our way down. The first place winner, what photo is it? It actually belongs to Jennifer Pigeon. Jennifer, where are you? Come on up. That's her photo right there. And it was taken in southeast of Hobbs, New Mexico. What a beautiful shot. Congratulations, Jennifer. All right, our second place winner. Let's see which one is this going to be. Second place winner the photo belongs to Stephen Jones, Dodge City Tornado. Congrats. Thank you. All right. Our third place photo. No, there's no collusion here or no nepotism going on, but it actually belongs to Sean Pigeon, who is Jennifer's husband. Sean, come on up. Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you, Roger.
All right. And we had a lot of great photos and such, and we decided to list the first honorable mention photo, which actually belonged to Nate Nelson of a lightning strike from Utah. And congratulations, Nate. We don't have any money, unfortunately, for that one, but you were really close. Everybody was really close. Thank you all for your photography submissions. We really appreciate it, and there were some great photos to look at. All right. With that, what we're going to do is we're going to take a 15-minute break, let you all freshen up and do whatever you need to before we bring our keynote on. All right.
Test 1, 2.
Okay, folks, for those of you who purchased the raffle tickets from Safelight, well, I'm actually going to walk back here right now, and they are going to do the drawings for their prize packages. All right. Yeah, that would be the luck, wouldn't
Is everybody back in the room?
All right, folks, let's go ahead and grab our seats so we can get going with this. All right, first of all, here we go, Safelight.
So this is for the first basket right here. All right. Also, thank you, everybody, for all your donations, for all your support. If you weren't able to donate today and you do live in Colorado, please look them up online. It's a great organization. You're welcome to go down there and give them any old towels, blankets, dog beds, toys, anything that you have, they'll take it. Thank you again. Okay, so this basket goes to 386.
386. If you have that number, come on back and see her, and she'll get your basket awarded to you.
You better look at yours.
Hey, we have a winner right here.
There's your umbrella.
20 years it took.
20 years. Yeah. Congrats, Doug.
Thank you.
All right, the next basket.
All right. That first one and this one, it has a backpack in it. It has a really nice blanket, a big umbrella. They're kind of fun. Lots of goodies in there. Okay. This one is 341.
341. Does anybody have number 341? We got a winner. All right. Come on back. Great.
There you go.
Awesome.
That's a deal.
There you go.
Holy cow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, congratulations. You got one more, right?
One more.
Okay.
This one has 2 chairs with it, so you better bring somebody to help you. Okay. I'm pulling for you over there, Karen. You got your tickets? Okay. This one is 309.
309. Do we have a 309? All right. Wow, you guys are mopping up tonight, man. Congrats, Warren.
Thank you. Okay, so this one, I have the bag for you. You're going to need some help carrying this because it's
I have a son that's
All right. Hey, folks, I know if anybody still has videos that you want to turn in to be played tonight for video night, please see Brian, and he'll take your videos. I don't think we have very many. This will be a first that we've just had a few. But if you have anything you want to get played, bring them up to him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our keynote speaker. If you've never heard Tim Marshall talk before, you're in for a treat. He just an outstanding presenter. For those of you who've never been here before, you're going to love it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Marshall.
SIPs. And in fact, Dr. Pearsoff mentioned a couple things last Chasercon about AllisonHouse, and I guess they're not too bad. So the title of my presentation tonight, as you might have guessed, is 2017 Chase Year, a Rogue One. And my name is Luke Skywatcher. Now, I'm pretty much of a recluse at this age, and I really want to set the record straight. It's Skywatcher, not Skywalker. Nobody walks on a sky. Come on now. That's ridiculous. So it's watching the sky, Skywatcher. All right, so I want to talk to you about this. In 2017, Admiral Werman assembled his rebel fleet on the far side of Amarillo in an effort to deploy instrumented pods in the path of Darth Nader. The elusive Nader has evaded our sensors for years. If we could intercept Nader, we might better learn the power of the dark side in order to write great scientific papers. It's the whole idea. Okay, so here's how the year went. In the beginning, well, this is before I joined the Werman fleet. March 28th, there was the Stanford, Texas tornadoes. Anybody on that one? Fantastic. I missed it by a few minutes. I was too far west. The Dimmitt tornadoes, I had no idea. It was like, what was this? Out in West Texas. For those of you who went out and saw it, especially, congratulations. I mean, fantastic. Saw a nice sunset supercell at Sitka, and then finally breaking the ice on April 29. Anybody went to Canton, Texas? Okay, several of you did, okay. That was not an easy chase. Saw a couple of brief tornadoes on Agate, Sudan, Childress, Haler, and Stinnett, Texas. And then, of course, the McLean and Elk City. Anybody on those? Okay, quite a few of you are, because that's in the prime of the season. And then I missed the Waynoka tornado. Basically, we were a little too far north, and we're anticipating that everything was going to move that direction. And then we had Tornado Fest in Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska. Anybody out on those? Oh, a lot of people were, okay. Great tornadoes, not the best for deployments. A lot of things happen to go wrong in terms of roads and things. And then, of course, Harvey and Irma were things. Okay, so this chase case I'm going to talk to you about is sponsored by Bouncy Tornado. Have you ever seen this? Bouncy? It's the quicker pipper-upper, and it's now in supercell size. So I'm going to talk to you about this chase case, which is quite interesting from a meteorology. It was a rogue event. So hence the name of my talk. Because it was a rogue event. This beast coming out of the Merc in Canton. Well, I plotted the map in the morning, and I thought, well, it was a trap. It's just suckering me out. But then the thing about it that I liked so much about it, and this does work, by the way. Yeah, okay. Is this area here I thought would be pretty good because we have this front moving in, and it was close to me. Yeah, and there's the low right there. Maybe northeast of the low would be a good place. But I don't like surging cold fronts. It's too much linear lifting, and all this high dew point area. You see those double bars out there? What do you think those double bars are? It's fog. Lots of fog. Well, low visibility, lots of trees. It's an ugly, ugly forecast. It's early in the year. Typically, you got to be a little bit patience, like patience, Luke, patience. And I decided, well, it's close enough that I might as well go out. And it was a weekend. So here's the 850. Now I know this looks like a lot of spaghetti here, but the green lines are equal lines of moisture that are there. And you can see that they're coming through most of Texas, very deep moisture, in fact. And of course, there's no 850 out west. That's all. I don't know why they keep doing that. You You should run into the ground somewhere out in eastern Colorado. But, they keep making those lines there. This is a pressure surface. And then 700 millibars. Now you can see this giant low sitting there, big trough coming in here. Yeah, this is 700 millibars. Do you see that? That's a flag with 2 more bars. So that's 70 knots in Oklahoma City at 700 millibars. So this is sort of the race chasing light speed edition, because you're going to have to race with this, or just let the storms come to you and let them go by. All right, 500 millibars. Now you can get to see this closed low situated out here with the 4 corners. Trough coming through here. Again, very strong winds aloft, 70 knots over Oklahoma City. This is what you would expect for this type of early situation. But you know there's going to be storms, right? When you get this kind of deep layer, these temperatures here, minus 25 Celsius. So that is quite the cold pool. There's even a little bit of 28 down here in southern New Mexico, in the Deming area. So that's a lot of cold air aloft coming across, and very warm and 70 dew point air. So something's going to happen here. It may be all the line junk, but at least there's going to be something. And then the knifing 300 millibar, diving out of Canada and coming across into West Texas. I mean, look at those wind barbs. Man, you go crazy trying to count all that. 145 knots. Well, one thing I learned is that it was a cap. I mean, a really big cap here. Look at the size of that. And that is quite, if you bring that on down, the convective temperature is way out here, 40 Celsius, and it isn't going to get that hot. Not in the muck out there. So that was a real concern to me. But the thing about it is, you got to think about what's going to happen later in the day as that cold air comes across. Will things change in the daytime? Will that cap erode from the bottom and the top? And convection will initiate. Some of the interesting things, supercell, 30.7, that's pretty respectable. Nice little change in the wind barbs here. Your STP over here, which Dr. Forbes talked about, 2.5, so it looks pretty good for strong tornadoes there. But there's interesting, there's no quality matches for the soundings. And then up at the hodograph up there, nice turning in the low levels, and then kind of gets garbagey above that. But again, things will improve throughout the afternoon. Pretty good low level turning here. You can see how the wind barbs go from a southeasterly to southerly here at 60 knots. Nice streaming flow. Okay, but then the model said it's a crap. All right, that's what the model said. Look at all that stuff. But this is interesting here. What's going on over in Louisiana? This is a MCS, a mesoscale convective complex out there. Little did I realize that was going to be the player of the day. And we'll show you how it turns into a rogue event when you have something like this situated around. Ooh, the force. Don't beat me up yet, Scotty. I'm not ready to go yet. All right. So what does SPC say? Now, for all of those who want to chase the center of SPC, you're going to find yourself in Texarkana. And you could go all the way up into Illinois or down to San Antonio. And so that's quite a wide area, and we just can't cover that area. So we have to look at more refined areas, such as this is the target that I had selected. And it was actually further north than where the tornadoes had later on occurred, and we'll see why in a little bit. But look at that 5% going all the way to Illinois, down into Texas. And that's the target. So this turns out to be the player. And this is something we all have to look at. What happened the night before to either mess up your target area or maybe enhance your target area? Now, little do we realize that, things happen at night. Normally on a chase day, we get up, start looking at the maps. It's like the day is anew. but there are things left over from the previous night that could influence how chasing occurs. And while we have this crashing cold front coming into central Texas, I'll show you a satellite loop of what happens at MCS. And that really was an eye-opener. Like Dr. Forbes asked the question today, how many of you go back and look at these situations and say, hey, look at what happened here. We can learn by this. It's really good to do a debrief. All right, so looking at some of the surface-based CAPE, and we know that CAPE is not the entire answer, but having a little bit of it isn't bad. But here we had, for this early, 4,000 joules, sharp gradient, and that's the front moving on in here. And then 1130, you know, it looks like, well, there's nothing changing here. Looks like the same thing. So, what I decided to do here, and this is before I joined Josh and Karen on their tours, but diving cold front through central Texas, we see that. That is going to be line lifting. Unseasonably high dew points ahead of it, 79 Fahrenheit offshore. Now that is wicked. Cloudy morning skies, which you know is typical strato Q. That's the moisture that feeds the storms. A deep amplitude trough with broad southwesterly flow aloft. High altitude elevated mixed layer, cap. But I believe that the colder air aloft will come in and remove that. So being close to home, Saturday, why not chase? I had poor confidence that this day was going to be anything but kind of a dry run. We like to have a few dry runs in the early season to try to get things going, making sure all the equipment works properly. So I chose Paris, Texas. And initially, that's what Carson and I were headed to before all of a sudden things started happening further south. So here, you know, T-box comes out. Oh, we like that, don't we? It's at 5:10, so it doesn't give you too much more hours until the light fades. But look at that mess. It's a cluster of cells that are there. It's like, which cell do you go after? Really? Initially, we were up here, and we had to come through all this stuff. I obviously like the tail end storms. That's not always a correct decision or rule, but I kind of like them. Here's the 4 o'clock EHI. How many of you look at the SPC throughout the day as you're out there and look at, see what these parameters are doing? Yes. Well, here's the EHI, the Energy Helicity Index. And gosh, it's 11 down at College Station. Should we drive down there? No, we don't want to chase bullseyes, right? We want to see where everything's coming together, and I like the gradients. So I was pretty happy still with Paris, Texas. And here's the mean layer CAPE. And the SIN was removed far to the south. And here's the SIGTOR, preferring further south. And this has started what I started looking at and saying, maybe we are a little too far north after all. And when all the convection started to happen, then I knew we were too far north, because I don't like to be in worked over air. Oh, by the way, safety. It's dangerous to chase solo, okay? Don't chase solo, all right? Chase with somebody, you know, a rookie, a Wookiee, I don't care what. So what I like to do is to step through this, because I can talk about this. You can see where the cold air is coming through here. It's clearing this on out, and then you have all this really cold tops here, but even colder up here where the convection is happening, and then the player. And this is a player. Now you might say, well, it's an MCS over Louisiana. If that throws out an outflow boundary, it's going to wash out our chase chances for today. Not necessarily. So if we step through this, you start to see what happens. Boom. You see this? You see that just pop right up there. Isn't that amazing? Now we'll see on the visible what happens to this MCS as it moves on up there. And that's where your tornadic storms develop there. All right, so if you're having doubts about being a storm chaser, a good friend of mine says, OB1. I'm sorry. had to throw that in there. So, follow the black dot. That's where Carson and I were. We were up in Emory, Texas, driving south. We had 20 miles to get to Canton at 5:57. A tornado was already in progress here. Well, look at where that's at. This is on the comma head area of this kind of linear looking stuff. Well, there may be a hook there. There's also a tornado there being reported. You could hear reports of a tornado approaching Canton and another tornado down here near Eustis. Look at the velocities. Now this is interesting. Canton, Texas is, a good 80, 90 miles from the Fort Worth radar. You're not seeing those really tight couplets here, are you? Why is that? Elevation, exactly. All too often we get into this idea that radar images like this are flat. They're not flat. They're made flat, so it's easier to display them, but they're actually conic sections. And so we are elevated quite high up here. So you're only seeing kind of the core of the meso here. And so there's a meso here, and you're moving rapidly to the north. And we're stuck up in Emory. We're not stuck. We're in heavy, heavy rain heading southbound. We're hearing all these reports of tornadoes with debris. So, anybody ever check correlation coefficient? Yes. It's a really good indicator of really debris that's non-uniform debris that's up there. And here's a big area, a big hole. So I look for consistency, see if that's there from image to image. Down here, not so much. But again, we're looking up several thousand feet up. Here's the reflectivity at 5:59. We're making our way south. Here's the tornado. Look at that. Okay. You see that consistently, and that is quite the tornado. Still on the back side. So if you were over here, would you see it? No, you wouldn't see it. And you have all these people reporting tornado on the ground. You're going, what am I? It's just a rain shaft. What are they talking about? It's the backside. So not all tornadoes form in that nice little southwest quadrant of the storm. Some of them actually are out there in the backside of the storm. So if you were out here behind the storm, guess what? You'd be seeing a tornado back there. And you got this one here. So these tornadoes are marching up northward. We are trying to race southward. We're hearing a report of a tornado crossing the interstate here. This is I-20. This is Canton. So I-20 comes out of Dallas, goes all the way out to Tyler right there. Give you some ideas of cities. So we figured, oh no, that's the only row we could get on. And we're going right into that blue hole there. So by this time, look into reflectivity. This isn't your classic supercell. At least you can't tell that from this. It is a supercell, but it's just very difficult to see it because of the distance away from the radar. So that tornado crosses I-20. It must have seen us and dies. Typically happens to me. New one here, still from Eustis. This new circulation is getting bigger. We're hearing spotters and chasers saying they got a wedge on the ground. And so Canton was very lucky because it got spared by this tornado. And it almost got nailed by this tornado, but it went split the city. So now we're getting the debris falling out of the sky to our west with this new debris right here in the correlation coefficient. So reflectivity, now we're getting to Canton. When we get to Canton, it's dark as night, 6:20. I'm trying to get some idea of what's going on. I look to the east and I see cloud tags roaring south. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends on your point of view. It's not outflow. That was actually inflow into the wedge here. So now we have to find where is the tornado, because the trees, the hills, poor visibility, and this thing's coming at you. Well, this is what was going on south of Canton. And this is Chris's images. So Chris was seeing this at this time. Now that's a wedge. Meanwhile, we parked ourselves there. Is that a good place to be or a bad place to be? It's like, where is the tornado? And all of a sudden, boom, it comes across the trees, we see it, and everything's moving. So there it is at 6:23. Yeah, it's already here. Yeah, that's true. So debris flying across the road. He's like, where are we here? And so looking south, this is our viewpoint, our first indication. Of course, everything was rotating around here, and this thing's coming right at us. There was a Dodge dealership right behind us, and that got nailed by the tornado. So we were actually in the path, which I don't recommend. That's not a good place you want to be. I wish I had a pod, though, at that time. That was before our project began. But, interstate, thank you. No traffic. And we managed to squeak to the east. The tornado crosses right behind us, and off it goes. Okay. There's the correlation coefficient. I can tell you it was close, okay? I don't want to be this close unless I got a pod. And if I have a pod, this is about the time you want to drop a pod, right here, and get out of there. Things are moving. So we got out of there, survived. Anybody use radar scope? Raise your hand. Okay, wow, look at all of you. All right. You find it beneficial, I guess, right, to have, if there's cell service. That's right. So we were watching, but you have to understand, of course, that it updates not every, well, maybe sometimes 3, 5, 7 minutes. So you got to watch those times, because it could, especially when you're in close like this, it could be a little too self-relying. So, interesting thing about this, as it evolves through the day, is that you got this line and you got these little areas of hooks. It's a squall line, a tornadic squall line. Ever hear of a tornadic squall line? Yeah, they are out there. And these aren't the little tiny vortices either that you normally hear about up in the Midwest. These are big tornadoes that are going through here, and they all have those couplets. This is in the purple haze. So the Fort Worth rated it, the Weather Service rated it EF3 based on the damage. Again, EF scale is a damage scale, right? I'm sure if we had the Dows out there, we'd have winds higher. But what I wanted to show you is this here. And I don't know, is this a movie here? Can you check and see if it's a movie down at the bottom?
Is there audio to it?
No audio. See if there's something, yeah, play that. You see what's going on in Louisiana? Let's see if you can do that again. Or is it one and done? Is that all we get? All right. You see the like dropping a water balloon in Louisiana, that outflow boundary roars west and enhances the convergence, which I believe is what was one of the reasons why the big tornadoes were developing in East Texas. Yeah, this is a wrap. There's my target. There's the tornadoes. I missed the forecast, but yet I got to see a tornado. How did that happen? Or why did that happen? Does that mean that I'm not too confident in myself? Yeah, I admit it. I've been only doing this 40 years, and every once in a while, I'll say, I think we need to change. So that may be a good thing, that may be a bad thing. How many of you are willing to change your forecast in a day? Okay, good. Yeah, based on new data, kind of your instincts of it, maybe your first impression is not correct. And mine wasn't on this day. And I believe it was a rogue chase, because what happened in Louisiana, I did not see that real time. It was only the day after, when I went back and I looked at the satellite loop, that I saw, oh my gosh, look at this outflow coming out of Louisiana. That, I think, is a good reason why there were so many tornadoes in central Texas in that day. So, Possible mesoscale accident, or a rogue one. Outflow move west encountering the cold front, enhancing the low level convergence and the spin up. The tornadoes were embedded in this kind of linear convection and managed to see at least a tornado out of it. There were several, like 7 or 8 tornadoes that day. So that's pretty good when you can get one out of the forest. And I think, let's see, Weather Service had 7 tornadoes. All right, are you ready to play Storm Chaser Jeopardy? This has been a reoccurring theme in my talks throughout many, many years, where I give you the answer and you give me the question, right? So today's topic is going to be Star Wars planets. This is trivia. How good are you about Star Wars? Let's see about what you know about planets. Okay. This is a cold Arctic-like place where I encountered, a blizzard, and a carnivorous snow creature. Hoth. Okay. Roger, can we give this guy a book? One of those books? Can we give him a door prize? All right. He gets a door prize, though. So you get a book, okay? Yeah. I'm buying. Good. That's one way to give away door prizes, right? Yes. Not a place I would want to chase, okay? All right, so now it's on to the McLean, Texas, and Elk City, Oklahoma tornadoes. And this is when I was with Josh and Karen on the Center of Severe Weather Research, when our mission here is not photogenic tornadoes, it is trying to get pods now in the paths of these tornadoes. Pretty tornado here, McLean. Good Dow data, but it didn't cross a highway where we could have our pods. We were ready. We were ready to deploy our pods. This chase case is sponsored by Cinnabon, and for good reason. So, this is the project. Tornadic winds in situ radar measurements at low levels. So somebody came up with that acronym, right? TWIRL. There are 5 pods in my Scout 3. And they look like this. And maybe if you were out earlier today, you got to see one of those out there on the Dow. So they contain several instruments in a hardened case right here. It records temperature, humidity, pressure, wind speed, wind direction, 1 time per second. So it's fast. Dr. Werman, Dr. Kasiba, in a lighthearted moment, you can never take these folks into a convenience store. Things start happening. But the idea is to arrange the pods, have this nicely photoshopped tornado come in, and they're scanning over the pods. So we can correlate what's happening up there versus what's happening down here. That's the whole project. I mean, they have lots of great Dow data, but it's all up here. That's not where people live. So another kind of looking down view. This is a nice pretty tornado. And it marches through and hits our array of pods and gets these beautiful wind measurements here. We love that, if that were to happen. The odds of this actually happening are pretty low, obviously. We've been at it now for almost 10 years. We had 2 major expeditions early on in May. May 8th to 18, we saw this little funnel up in Agate. Some chasers say maybe it was a tornado. And then Sudan, brief tornado there. Childress, brief tornado there. And then over in Stinnett, McLean, tornado, Elk City, Alva. And then our second foray, 2 more campaigns. We had this supercell here. It's a long way to go. And then our multiple event right close to home. So here, 10 a.m. surface map for McLean Day. I like the Texas Panhandle. This is the area that I grew up in and chase in and have seen more tornadoes in the Texas Panhandle than anywhere else. So I like this area, and felt pretty confident given the setup. This is the middle of May. If it's the middle of May, you have a dry line out there, moisture coming north, things are starting to look pretty good. You just don't say no. I mean, you have to go out and chase these things. Now, you know, Dr. Pearsall was talking about being an addict. Well, I am in May. The rest of the year, well, I'm part of June. So here's 850. Moisture, look at now, compared from the Canton day, the moisture is now pushed way west. That's the green lines packed up here. That is what happens in May. The moisture makes it onto the cap rock. The cap rock is actually over 3,000 feet in elevation, so it is higher terrain. Now again, all this stuff is garbage. I don't know, still know why they do that. 850. 700 millibars, got this nice trough here. 20 knots southwesterly flow, not good at 700, but look what's here. 25, it's marginal. 30 at El Paso, 30. You have to look really upstream what's coming in. Stronger winds are coming in. So that's a good thing, because those weaker winds are going to have to yield to this trough coming in. And then at, I think, whoop, I must have missed 500. 300, broad flow. 90 knots at El Paso. Okay, again, look at the monster cap. You know, so it's like, oh my gosh. We started the day in Canadian Texas, so we were right in the target area. That's where I like to be. So we had most of the day to kill. Look at the supercell, 1.2 compared to Canton, which was 30. And the winds are more unidirectional. And our little box and whiskers over here, flat, down. But that's Amarillo. And you kind of expect that maybe things off the cap rock, deeper moisture, because it's lower elevation, things would be quite different out there. And the weaker winds we already talked about, those will strengthen throughout the day. Photograph up there, pretty linear. It's kind of pretty yucky down low. But again, look for what happens. Dramatic changes happen. We see it time and time again. Morning sounding looks crappy. The afternoon looks better. Evening is wow. Things can change that quickly. Oklahoma now, sitting in the deeper moisture. Well, I don't like to see all those zeros, but you have all this elevated cap here. So it's not very good. It's too capped off. So you know you're not going to be chasing an Oklahoma area, that city that is. So somewhere in between. You know, what's halfway between Amarillo and Oklahoma City? Yeah, there you go. McLean. So, again, looking at SPC, the enhanced risk goes all the way from, wow, down almost here, Mexico, all the way up into Iowa at 8 o'clock. But there is this little thing. And, we like that when they peg out the eastern Texas Panhandle. That's Chewy's reaction. And hatched area, so that means that there could be some stronger tornadoes there. So here's the setup. Weak surface low in southwest Kansas. Love that, because that enhances that upslope flow. Surface moisture, stratoQ in the morning. Weak trough coming, followed by more substantial one out west. The wind direction is, directional shear is weak, but the sample speed shear, that will improve throughout the day. A strong cap on the Amarillo sounding, but you always take those with a grain of salt. Wouldn't it be nice if they would launch soundings in Shamrock, Texas? You know, that's really where they need to launch the sounding. Expect the atmosphere to destabilize as the upper trough approaches. Isolated storm should develop along the dry line, central eastern Texas Panhandle. So our target was Shamrock. So when you're waking up in Canadian, how far is it a drive to Shamrock? Not very. So we just have to kill some time. Oh, by the way, here's your forecast for Alderaan. So the tornado watch at 150, eastern Texas Panhandle, Also one up into Kansas here. And you see initially we have these cells developing, nice isolated cells along the dry line. This is what I like to chase. This is the type of picturesque storms, but also you might get some long track tornadoes. If it crosses a highway, we'd have pods there. Okay? So we'll step through this, see what this is, the cold air coming out from the west here, and this disturbance crossing the Four Corners area, and all this kind of muddy. What is all this muddy stuff you see here? That's low clouds. It's warm, so it's almost the same color as the ground temperature, which is black. And you can see how that steps through, it's burning off, getting out of the way there, so it allows some heating. You can almost make a little convection going along the dry line here. It's kind of wavy feature here, the colder air here, popcorn type convection out there. And then the first storms start in the Oklahoma Panhandle and start unzipping down the dry line. And then these storms clustered. Move on up. Another cell develops south, moves up to Elk City. Another cell is to follow suit. Okay. Despite what Dr. Parasoff said today, May, you chase everything. Sorry, I'm not going to do the honeydew stuff. It's chasing. You know, I wasn't the one that put Mother's Day in there, okay? I didn't do that. I apologized to my mom so many times. She just finally, after about the 20th time, she said, I know you're not going to come over and take me out to dinner. It's true. You got to have your priorities straight. At least, you know, I have my priorities straight. I make it up to her, believe me, take her out. And besides, the restaurants are not very crowded the day after Mother's Day. Right? All right, chase everything. So here we are, Scout 3. The Dows are back over in Shamrock here. We are a scout vehicle, so being a scout vehicle, we are sent out ahead to try to see, you know, what the storm would look like. We had several cells here, all merged together, and of course the strongest one, and this is some good hail here, good hail indicator. So we were sitting in heavy rain and some pea hail, watching this thing move up, and it had a meso. We decided to we don't want to have our instruments, because we have a mesonet, get blasted by hail, because the aero vane alone is $1,000. So we got east on I-40. This is I-40, this is McLean, and this is Shamrock, if those of you who know the panhandle. And then about this time, 426, we see a hook. This is radar reflectivity. So now we're sitting there going, okay, this is nice. Looking at radial velocity here. We're getting some outbounds here and some weak inbounds. So there's something going on there. And it's a fair piece from Amarillo. So we're seeing some probably above cloud base rotation going on. And it maintains a hook. Hooks are nice, but more often than not, hooks don't produce tornadoes. That's a real problem when people say, oh, there's a hook on it, there's a hook on it. Well, that's fine, that's just something we like to see, but I don't get all excited about it unless I look at velocities or correlation coefficient, other things. So this has got my interest here. Definitely outbounds, there's something going on. It's not tight circulation, but you wouldn't expect that given that distance. So finally, we moved south here, wanted to see what that looked like. And, wow, something's starting to happen here. Interesting, large base, looking southwest, kind of a vault area here. Hail was falling, pretty good size hail actually, on I-40 this time. And this feature stayed fairly stationary in transit. It must have seen us, knew that we were sitting there just twiddling our thumbs saying, okay, you know, we have everything's working, our pods are ready for deployment, and they're just going to sit out there. So we're south of McLean here, watching this come on in. There's our dot, and then touchdown, visible condensation. Oh, pretty tornado sits out there, teasing us, na, you know, you can't catch me. I can't catch it. That's sitting out there. So for all practical purposes, unless we can get a pod in it, the mission is not completely fulfilled here. So we just not too happy with that, although the picture's nice, right? Yeah. as it came up to us and then spit in our face. And that's it. Now we have a choice to make. Do we stay with the one that disappointed us, or do we go maybe to the south and try to pick up something else? So the team made a decision, as this was probably our last view of it at 4:46, and it crossed I-40. At least the circulation aloft did, and it roped out. This is by John Zeitler. So we decided to target the next storm that's coming up. It started, well, southwest of Wellington, Texas, and had this beautiful look to it. Now, I would call the McLean cell somewhat of an LP, but it was more of a classic, I would say, more of a classic. This was looking more HP, wasn't it? That's when you take a look at that. You know, this is kind of a rain-wrapped area back in here. We don't have a problem deploying in that because, again, I talked to Josh and Karen and say, you know, where is the tornado, and give us a cross point on the highway, and we can just drop some pods well before that happens, and hopefully we get a hit on the thing. I don't recommend going through to see what's in here if you don't have a Doppler on wheels with you, because, you know, again, don't depend on that radar scope. It's I wouldn't want to play with that in there. So it's tough from this distance. This, I believe, is Frederick radar, the Altus Air Force Base area. Again, you're far away. I mean, this is up at Elk City, so it's a good distance. And we were off the map here. We were trying to find a way to get, we should have stayed on I-40 rather than drop south. You know, you live and learn. You get too over anxious. And so the Dow was ahead of us. They actually were down by Carter, which is this little town down here. This is Elk City up here. This is I-40 here. And at 6:45, you're getting outbounds, actually inbounds here, because radar's down here. So there's a circulation going on right there. And can you see a tornado in there? Well, it's kind of difficult. You don't really see a visible condensation, but there is a tornado right there. It's in there. So again, another big misnomer is that you have to have visible condensation of the ground. You don't have to have visible condensation of the ground. This is another great view. Even on an HP, you can wrap like this. And these are, you can see the curtains streaming around here. Gabe's photo. And Gene Moore, nice little subvortex coming up here. Well, look at this, it's just like a rain shower, right? There's a tornado there. You see where that tornado's at? Yeah, it's over here. These little vortices here. Okay. So here's where the hook comes out and wraps around here. That's your highest reflectivity. There's your hail, though, even higher yet. And there's your nice couplet. It's not really big and tight because of the distance away, but it's together. And there's a tornado there. It's right here. And here's what it looks like on radar scope. And you can see it really does peg this. And a lot of this is actually being brought down from above as sort of a radar side lobe that's contaminating that area. So it doesn't always mean that that's actually all true. And there's the hook coming in, and velocities coming closer to Elk City. We are in Carter. If you know where Carter is, it's just south of Elk City. We had a choice to make. Do we run ahead and try to see if we can find out where the bear is in that bear's cage, or do we try to get ahead of it? And the decision was made for safety's sake that we would get ahead of it. We don't like playing around in heavy rain, hail, and we don't know where that tornado really is. I mean, the Dow can tell you pretty good, but we don't want to be too close. So here's my view north. There's a tornado in there somewhere. So we're here east of Carter. We're going to race north on 6 and get ahead of it. So we thought. And there's, now, who's going to make it to this point right here? The tornado or our black dot? Given the velocities, yes. The tornado did it. We decided to go further east and then north and get ahead of it. And of course, the tornado died. Always happens, right? Anyways, good forecast. Not a bad chase from the standpoint. We got to see some tornadoes. The mission wasn't a complete success because we didn't get pods hit by a tornado, but then again, we know that the odds of that happening are pretty remote. But the Dow's got some pretty good data there. Okay, so intercepted the tail end Charlie storm south of McLean, produced a tornado, remained over rural areas, so drove to a new supercell near Wellington, arrived too late at Elk City to deploy, but not so bad. At least it's something. All right, it's on time once again for Storm Chaser Jeopardy. And again, I will give you the answer, right? No. I will try to give you the answer, and then you give me the question, okay? Now, these are going to get tougher now. All right. It was the area planet where I grew up when I first encountered Ben Kenobi. Yes. Correct. Man, you guys are good. You get a book. Come on up here. Get a book. Was that easy or hard? That was easy. Okay. All right. They'll get harder, let me tell you. Okay. Yes. Okay. Two suns. It looks like my normal photograph of a sun. Double exposure. Okay, now it's on to June 12. And again, how many of you were out on June 12? Wow, look at all of you. It was a fun day. Saw lots of tornadoes. Unfortunately, for us, we couldn't get in front of one. Oh, by the way, this chase case is sponsored by L'Oreal because you're worth it. All right, so here's the 8 a.m. forecast. We were in Boulder, Colorado, where the camp is. Looks like, no, we were actually in Scottsbluff that day. And so looking at an upslope situation. So here Canton was a squall line. McLean was a dry line. And now here's upslope. So you get three different types of events that produce tornadoes. And the surface low is in northwest Kansas. You have 60 dew points moving on up into Nebraska. I mean, is a play here in central Nebraska? Sure. If the cap will break in time. But I like out here, because as you will see in the upper air, it's closer to the upper low. And if you can break out clouds in the upslope air, you can get beautiful low-level turning. And that low-level shear and little cape can yield nice big tornadoes. So 850 millibars. Here we are in June. Now look at the green. It's way back up here into Wyoming. So in June, the moisture has even gone further west and north. At 700 millibars here, big low situated over northern Nevada. And we have flow coming in this way. It's pretty weak over Colorado, but it'll get stronger. And at 500, minus 24. So it's moving this way. 50 knots at Grand Junction, so it's moving towards the target area. It's very weak here. If you wanted to chase Nebraska, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be anything there, but the winds aloft are not as favorable there. Sort of a little bit of ridging there. And 300 millibars, like so. Okay, so here's the sounding from Denver. Oh, we're down to the tenths here, I guess. Not very good in the morning because it's pretty stable. But there's nice little turning. Our box of whiskers is flat, and our hodograph, not too bad, a little linear in the lower levels. But is there a cap? No. And that, not much of one. And that could bode for many, many storms, which a lot of models were saying that was going to be the case. So, moderate though. Well, now I feel a little better, right? You see a moderate coming out. SPCs, they must see something. Well, Does moderate mean moderate risk of tornadoes? No. It can mean more storms. I have seen a lot of tornadoes on slight risk days. I've seen tornadoes on 2%. It's okay. So the percentages are kind of relative. But it looks like everybody gets a tornado because it's hatched 15%. You can't go wrong if you go up there to Wyoming. Looking at some of the forecast models here, and I don't know how many of you look at the HER or the NAM 3K, but these are helicity tracks, and it says, hey, look at southeastern Wyoming here. That's a place. Nebraska, not such a good place to be. So it looks like southeastern Wyoming was the place to be. Well, we were thinking a little further north, and now we're starting to say, well, maybe we need to get down towards the Wyoming, down in this area. I mean, you even had tracks down here in Colorado. And here are some of the convection models showing composite reflectivity clusters. In central Wyoming, eastern part, this cluster here, kind of some fungus among us here, and then another cluster out in South Dakota. So, classic upslope event, cloudy skies should give way to storm development along the Front Range. The tight low is moving through northern Nevada. The lack of a cap should allow for numerous storms. Prague show at least 2 storm clusters. Storm interactions are likely, and we watch for the tail end storms. Rather than Torrington, we decided get down towards Julesburg, Colorado, which is right there along the Wyoming-Colorado border. Looking at the 1 p.m., special sounding out of Denver, not too bad. I mean, it's showing there is still some cap there. Not too great on the supercells, unidirectional flow, not so good. Box and whiskers, pretty flat. Winds a little better, a little stronger there in the lower levels, but not too great. So this is kind of what happens in June. It's not really standing out at you, but you have moisture in place, it's high terrain, and you have an upper low approaching. You know, you could get that high plains magic, and that's what we look for that time of year. I like it when not all the parameters are coming together, actually. It's nice. So here's the surface-based Cape, tongue moving up through into Wyoming, and there was the target. Here's the supercell composite parameter. Well, looks like the bullseyes, if you want to play the bullseyes, are even further south than that target. But we're going to go to the south end and hold, and this is a significant tornado parameter at 3 o'clock. T-boxes come out, not too bad, and you can see the clusters that are developing. Here are this is the 530 ones, and a lot of clusters there. So, one thing I've learned over chasing many years, and my good friend Yoda has said to me many times, is count your tornadoes before they hatch. You must not. So even given a situation like that, I mean, there were chaser friends of mine who were in southeast Wyoming who didn't see anything, okay, that day. That wasn't guaranteed. It's not always guaranteed. So we'll step through this, and you get to see what the infrared looks like. Again, cold air here, infrared satellite. There's a cluster over South Dakota. It's too far away to have any effect on our upslope. And you can see the low clouds over this area of Nebraska and upslope area here, moving around. Convection starting at 245 along the Front Range. Not so much down in the Colorado area, but the Cheyenne Ridge is starting to pop. And sure enough, there we are. And boom, 415. So our idea was to abandon the initial target of Torrington, get further south. Let's see what comes out of Colorado. All right. All right, well, yeah. You have to have your priorities straight. So we are en route to tail end Charlie storms. But the not so great thing about it was, this is the tail end storm, but there are 2 bases. Actually 2 storms here. Nice sharp anvil though. But when I see 2 bases close together, one of them is going to lose. You know, search your feelings. You know, that's what it's all about, right? I'm told that. Search your feelings here. Two cells close together, one of them's going to lose. Not always, but this was the storm cluster event. All right. Do you see anything on radial velocity? Well, this tail end storm looks better than what's in here, right? Sure enough. So we're at the black dot here. If you've ever been out near the Grover area, it's pretty open out there. It's pretty wide open spaces there. You can see a long, long ways. And Weld County, 14 here, and you come more into the, this is 25 here. So we have two hooks here. This one's getting rained into. Doesn't have much of a circulation. This is intermittent. Moving north towards our black dot. Our black dot's moving towards it. We're the scout vehicle. The dials are back a little further towards Grover. So we want to just check out these storms. But now at 450, this one's looking a little better. It's hook. Yeah, but not on radial velocity. Nothing too much there. So now we're shifting up a little bit. Here's the Wyoming-Colorado border. Nebraska's over here. So we're still in our same place here. Now watching this cell, this cell's not looking too good. This broad scale rotation, very weak. All right, so nice location here. This is where what we would like to see is, okay, if this thing was tornadoing, we'd be dropping pods right there at its course there. But it was not tornadoing at that time. It took a long, long time. And I don't know why. I don't know why some storms take an hour or more, even after having pronounced hook and rotations, that it's not doing it. It's not tightening it up. It's an RFD problem, perhaps. Oh, here we go. Well, we decided to go back to Grover, meet up with the team, and then, of course, you know what happens. RFD comes in here. I wanted to see if we were maybe go angle up towards Hertford, but by that time, this was merging in with another cluster, and this was merging with another cluster. It was one big cluster, you know. And we were getting all kinds of rotations in here, starting to set up. So we decided to move further east. Yes, there was a tornado in progress over Hertford at that time, but we thought we were seeing something a little different on radial velocity, and it's this thing here. That told me this is going to get kicked out the back, and this will be the new play shortly. And we had a better chance of intercepting rather than going through a core trying to get back to this thing, which we never would make it. I don't want to chase tornadoes from behind. I want to get in front of them. Let them come to me. So we could see the tornado out there as it crossed into Wyoming. And then this is now starting to become a new player here. The old pass the baton, you've heard that term used a lot with, okay, this is going to be the occluded circulation, and now a new one's going to form out to the east. So it got pretty big and pretty nasty, and some of the chasers got up pretty close to it. So we can see it roping out at 558. Some of these, when these tornadoes start to get tiny, and they can get really violent. Much more, the size of a tornado is not really equivalent to its intensity. It's small tornadoes can do more damage. So now we're shifting up again. This is I-80. This is Bushnell, Nebraska. So here's the Wyoming-Nebraska line. Go this way to Cheyenne. We have this kind of interesting, this is the old storm that had produced the tornado. Now this one here is coming on up, and it's going to be the new player. We cross underneath this hook, and immediately a tornado sets down right behind us on the southwest. It was, we didn't, the dials were ahead of us, so they didn't know the circulation. We were in a repositioning mode, so they didn't know that a tornado was there. And there was the circulation of the anticyclonic just as we passed there. So I know it's going to be difficult to see here, but you might see some funnels here. And then there's this dust pall here. It's rotating the other way. The RFD is up here to the right. We're looking to the southwest. So, you know, another thing is while you're you're paying attention to what the real cyclonic circulation is going on, there could be an anticyclonic circulation coming up your, you know what. So that's what happened here. So this is the old storm, that tornado. This is the new one that has now an anticyclonic tornado. We got blasted with the RFD, as you can see, outbound there. A weak tornado, but nonetheless it's a tornado. Go up to I-80, a town called Pine Bluffs in Wyoming. So that's Wyoming, and then cross over into Bushnell here. And we start driving east on I-80. Is that something you want to do? You see that circulation? Anticyclonic circulation on the ground just west of us. So here we were, and here was an anticyclonic circulation. You can't see it on reflectivity, but it was there. It may have been the same anticyclonic circulation that we caught earlier, and it just kept on getting behind us there. So whether it was a separate tornado or the same one, we don't know. So we got to Bushnell, drove north. We felt we were in pretty good range here for intercept. And again, clear slot, wrapping here, funnel, moving north. We thought we had a good shot at dropping pods on this one. Darn, tornado beat us right on front of the road. We're just trying to get ahead of the tornado, and it crosses in front of us. And there it is. So, thin tornado, and we're moving with it. But look at what's happening here. You're getting this kind of east-west orientation of the supercells, and there's at least this old occlusion here. There's one here, and you know you can almost take a hint of another one here. So we're going to get this now convective cluster developing and propagating further east. Thin tornado east, northeast of us, and we try to follow that tornado. We got twin tornadoes, nice white tornadoes. 2 white tornadoes came down. Brief again. And we're not interested in brief. Brief doesn't do us any good. We keep moving. Oh, nice full contact. And then what's going on back here? This decides the tornado. The old storm back here decides the tornado. Way back there. And that was what? 10, 15 miles further west. Nice tornado sitting out there. There it is. That's from the old one way out there in the west. So we have that storm. We have an updraft to my northwest. We have another updraft to my north. We got 3 mesos going on. And it decided to sit out there and say, no, you can't catch me. So it's happened. Oh, wow, I love that. I love when photographers do this. I sit there, Dan Robinson did this nice composite of that tornado. Really nice. So you have this tornado here, they have rotation here, and you have this rotation here. Just interesting kind of a clustering effect here. So you have this, and this is. So you can see this tornado roping out, driving north, hook. Well, maybe we have another chance at this thing. Drive right into the notch. Boom! Finally, we get a tornado just to our south. We beat the tornado across the road, get up to the turn here, turn to the right. Here's the tornado coming at us, the funnel here. But then all we did was chase cows. The tornado died before it got to the road. This is Nick Stewart's there. Yeah, this is a cow chase. So we had to show for that. Oh well. So we saw tornadoes that day. The Dow's got some data, not a whole lot because we were always driving. So 7 tornadoes, 2 anticyclonic, dropped south, changed our forecast. Relatively brief except for the first one. We got mesonet data of the 2 anticyclonics. So we do have some data. It's not great, but it's okay. And the Dows did get some data from the tornadogenesis, okay? So the forecast was fine, but again, the tornadoes did not cooperate. Either the roads or the tornadic storms didn't cooperate with us. A lot of tornadoes, great photos, but not the great mission we wanted. So finally, This is almost Final Jeopardy here. We're on to this next, and these questions now are getting even more difficult. So those of you who already have a book, you can't get another book. All right. This is a high humidity swampy planet that's the home of Yoda. Yes. You raised your hand. Yes, you. Gosh. Dagobah. Yes, absolutely. Okay, you get a book. Okay. My goodness. There's a lot of planets out there, aren't there? Fantastic. But it's now time for the daily. Would you want to risk that book for the next one? No. All right. Okay. So now it's time for the daily double. So there's one more here that can happen here. All right. This is an ocean planet where clone technology was developed. You didn't answer before, right? That was him. And that's you. I'm going to pick her over there. Yes, you. What is what? Camino. Okay. Reminds me of an old car I used to have. Yes, indeed. All right, you win. You can share. So, in summary, it wasn't that great of a year. 3 tornado days, it's below average. Saw 10 tornadoes, which is about average if you want to count each one of those brief ones. No pod deployments, which is below average. We'd at least like to do that once or more. April 29 was a rogue event, hence the talk name and the idea for the talk. MCS outflow boundary interacts with the cold front. May 16th was the typical dry line setup with LP Classic and HP. And then the June 12th, typical upslope setup, but unusual tornado clusters. Okay. So, there is the end. Yes. And for my friends, thank you very much. Thank you for coming to Chasercon, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Karen, for putting this on, inviting me back year after year after year. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Obi-Wan has taught you well.
Test 1, 2.
Great, thanks, Tim. Love the costume too. That's awesome. For all of you who know, Tim has been under the weather pretty bad here, and so he had been feeling better this week, and we're very thankful that you were able to make it tonight. Great, thank you. So, folks, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and for those of you who want to stick around for video night, we have how many videos, Brian? 4 or 5, okay. And if you have another video that you'd like to have shown, bring it on up to Brian. So we'll see everybody back in 10 minutes. For those of you who are not coming back, we'll see everybody in the morning. I think our kickoff time is like 8:30 tomorrow, so you get to sleep in a bit. Please come tomorrow because we have some great speakers tomorrow.
No, this is actually an official costume. No, I have to I'll put it back on, but I will have to get all this mixed up. I'll put it back on.